Hey, my name's Eamon, and today we're really excited to announce our PF120 high bandwidth NDI box camera. Here it is. Here at BirdDog, we've already delivered to the world the most complete range of high bandwidth NDI PTZ cameras, and today we're really proud to expand that lineup into the box camera category with our PF120. Shipping now, the PF120 delivers resolutions up to 1080p 60 and is perfect for live streaming, educational facilities, medical applications, boardrooms, live sports productions, live events, and just so much more. At the heart of the PF120 is a Sony Exmor R sensor, which is teamed up with BirdDog's custom NDI silicon implementation, which gives unmatched picture quality. There is a full color matrix available with an incredible 64 positions of red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow for both hue and saturation controls. And yes, Toby, there's also Kelvin control in there too. All of these amazing color tools found in the PF120 can be controlled by our free cam control software. This is a software that enables you to access all of the features of the camera remotely, and you can control all of the color tools and color match cameras literally in seconds. Okay, so now let's take a look at the hardware. In the PF120 we have a super high quality 20x zoom lens. We've incorporated a 49mm thread on the front, so you can use your favourite filters including UVs, polarizers, NDs, and much more. There is also a large tally light on the front that just works when connected to any NDI production system. Moving around to the back of the PF120, we have a high bandwidth NDI connection which is delivered over an RJ45. This can also be used for powering the camera via PoE+. There is a HDMI which works at the same time as high bandwidth NDI, and there's also a USB UVC connector, so you can use the PF120 with your favourite video conferencing application. We also have a secondary connector over RJ45 for RS232 control. We have 3.5mm audio inputs and outputs, and a locking power supply connector. The PF120 ships with a global power supply. On the bottom of the PF120 are standard tripod mounts including a 1/4 inch 20 and a 3/8 inch thread for maximum mounting flexibility. There's also an anti-rotation pinhole as well. PF120 is shipping globally through our network of resellers, and for more information on this amazing little camera, just head on over to BirdDog's website. G'day. So we're really excited to launch our PF120. You've seen the video, so yeah, let's get into talking about it, Dan. Yeah, I don't know where should we start? Should we start with some slides or?
No, I think we should talk through the camera actually.
Oh,
seems like a good idea.
Cool.
So yes, the PF120, we're really excited about it because it's our first camera that's a box camera, but it really builds on the really cool stuff that we've had within the P100 range. So it's using the same image sensor, it's using a lot of the technology we've built into our PTZ cameras, but now putting it into a smaller box type setup. We've added some great new features though as well. So on the front here we've got our filtering, which is really nice if you're using this in outdoor environments, so you can put on an ND filter or something like that, or you can polarize it. We can also just put on a UV filter to protect as well.
Absolutely, and it ships with a lens cap, so
yep. Very cool. So as a camera, it's nice and small, it's got some really great mounting options on the bottom, and it's designed to work with NDI, so single cable solution, which is what we love, power over Ethernet, and you're ready to go. But it does give you a whole bunch of extra features as well. So.
Yeah, so we've got USB UVC as well, so you can use it with Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, barcode click share, various other things like that. Anything that supports USB UVC, which is really cool. We also have, did you mention HDMI?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, so it's got HDMI as well, so it's got simultaneous NDI and HDMI outputs. And it's also got a locking power supply connector, so if you're not using PoE, you can lock the power supply on there for those fixed installations. But just use PoE, it's easier.
Totally is. One of the other great features in this is it's also got audio in and out, so we can use that to bring audio in from an external microphone and embed that into your NDI stream, or we can take a separate audio channel and use our intercom system, so BirdDog comms, and that's in and out as well. So we can take an IFB output, for example, and talk to our talent, or yeah, you can just be part of a general comms group as well.
Yeah. Now, one of the most exciting things about this camera is it's real and it's in stock globally at our distributors. So it's already in Europe, it's already in the USA, it's already in Australia, it's already in Asia. You can buy it today. So that's really cool.
It is pretty exciting. One last thing before we jump into some slides is I just want to mention how tough this thing is. It's built out of aircraft grade aluminium, and it really is built for production.
Yeah.
It's super tough.
I wanted to drive a car over one for the marketing video because I think it can stand up to it, but Dan wouldn't let me, so sorry about that.
Maybe we can try now that we're in production. In the pre-production ones, I didn't want to ruin them. So.
Okay. New video coming soon, I think. Yeah, okay. So where to now?
I think we're going to go through a couple of slides just to explain a little bit more about the product.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
So very good. So our first slide, as Eamon's already said, the great thing with this we're really excited about is it's a product that we've been developing for quite some time, and it's available right away. So it is available globally. So hopefully over the next hour or two you'll see that come up onto various e-commerce and websites, but also in-store as well. So you'll see it in your favourite video reseller's store, ready to go.
Yeah, and if you don't see it on their website, just give them a call because they all know about it and they can hook you up. So, yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as far as features and functions, we'll jump through some of these slides and then talk a bit more about it. So on the slide 2, we've got just a few things we're talking about here. The Sony sensor really is key. With all of the bird dog cameras, we use Sony Exmor R sensors, and the reason for that is it gives you great performance in low light, but we've also added in our bird dog silicon into that as well, which means that we can produce the highest quality and lowest latency NDI. And it means that your picture quality is excellent with the sensor, and then that teams up with our bird dog sensor to make sure, our bird dog silicon to make sure that we have the highest quality that you can possibly get.
Yeah, really nice pictures.
Yeah,
really nice pictures. Yeah.
So it supports up to 1080p 60. It's designed to work in productions in concert with all of our other cameras, in particular that P100 range. So it's got all the same controls, which we'll get into as far as the other controls that we have. I've just lost my slide here, so Eamon, keep talking.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure on the next slide we've got the information about the colour tools. So we've got the full colour matrix in there. No? What are we on?
Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, sorry, we've got the one cable operation. So we've got PoE. It's actually PoE, so there's a slight error there that our graphics guy has made, and I didn't pick up on that. So it's just PoE, you don't need PoE+, and it's full NDI, of course, as well as having simultaneous HDMI output. On the front, we have the massive tally light. So, you know, that's tally that just works. The tally's built into the NDI metadata stream, so it just works. You don't need to configure anything. We have the full metal enclosure like we spoke about. It's really built tough, this thing. We have a 20 times optical zoom, so that's great for applications like where you have to zoom in from the back of a church or maybe across a sports stadium or a sporting ground. It should give you enough coverage. And yeah, we've got the 49mm thread for the filters.
Yeah, so I think it is our smallest camera with our biggest tally, I think.
Yeah.
On the mounting options on the bottom, it's got a plate on the bottom which you can do all sorts of customized mounting, but it has a 1/4-20 as well as a 3/8 inch mount as well, so it's great for mounting onto all sorts of rigs.
Yeah, it's also got the anti-rotation, I'm not sure what it's called, a guide hole, so when you put it on the tripod it doesn't rotate around. Yeah.
Very good.
We'll call it a guide hole.
Anti-rotation pin, I think.
Okay.
So just to go back through on the connections on the back, so we have our audio IOs on the right hand side, and that gives you your connections for microphones as well as for speaker outputs or headphones. We've also got our locking power supply. That's really important for any kind of fixed installation where we have you know, the potential for a cable to get pulled a bit or something like that. So having that locking power supply is a great new feature that we've got in there. And just the one last thing, Eamon did mention it briefly, the UVC or the USB webcam function. So we can go up to 1080p 30 into any webcam application on any operating system it's supported. And so, you know, whatever you choose to use, whether it's Zoom, whether it's some other meeting platform, you can plug that in and work directly with the camera that you've got. And it also has far end control. So if your UVC application allows you to do that Zoom remotely, it'll actually handle that as well. So it's a great feature within the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And next, this is probably the most exciting part about these cameras is the amount of control you have over the actual picture quality. So you have 64 positions of hue and saturation for the whole colour spectrum: red, green, blue, yellow, magenta, cyan, and I've missed one, green.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. But we've also got Kelvin control in there. So I did a bit of a shout out to you, Toby, in the video, so I hope you took that in the right manner. I was just being a bit cheeky. So yeah, so it's Kelvin control in there. And we've also got remote shading using our cam control software. So basically any computer on the network, any Windows computer on the network can then shade the cameras. So you just load that up, it's a free application, and it gives you access to all of the color tools in a very easy to use interface.
Yeah, I think that's really important to note is all of the Bird Dog Eyes cameras, so whether that's the P100, the PF120, this brand new camera, and all the way through the top of the range products, they all support this color matrix control, and that really allows you to tune in the images exactly as you like. So if someone's got a wearing some red, or there's some green wash that's happening, you can just really fine tune those colors to get them to look exactly true to life. Yeah. And super easy using cam control as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So I think that's the end of our slides. So really, we're excited to have this as a great addition to the Bird Dog Eyes family. It in every way works as you would have with any of our Bird Dog Eyes cameras. Plugs in with NDI. We have our discovery that happens, so as soon as it's on your network, it's available to work with your favourite streaming application.
Yep. Yeah, and one thing I'd just like to highlight as well while we're here is all of the packaging that we use for the PF120 is 100% recyclable, and we don't use any petrochemicals in the ink. So it's all soy-based ink, so you can just throw it in the recycling bin, and yeah, it's good for the planet.
Very good. So I think with that, that's our announcement. So if we made sense, that's great. It is 1 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne, so we're trying our best. The other thing is this is our very first live stream that we've done for a product launch, so hopefully that's working okay on YouTube as well. We plan on doing these a lot more with some follow-up videos in place. It sounds like I'm on the hook to drive over one of these cameras as well. So,
that's going to be fun though.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show, just for sizing, this is my iPhone 12, and you can see if I put it next to the camera, that'll give you some idea about exactly how big it is. So, yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Cool.
So I think from here we'll jump into some Q&As. We're not going to have a particularly long session. We've got some training for dealers and things that will come up afterwards, which will help people understand more about the inner details of the camera. But essentially, that's what we've got to announce is the PF120.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So let's have a look at some of these questions.
What have we got?
So there's a question about PoE Plus. So just to clarify, with the PF120, it will work with PoE Plus, but it will equally work with just regular PoE as well. It uses 10 watts maximum, so it's super easy to put into any kind of network where you have a power over Ethernet setup. And of course, there's a locking DC connector if you don't have PoE.
Yeah, correct. What else we got?
I'm just seeing if there's any questions in the chat here. We're not seeming to get getting any questions there. I'll just ask our producer Neil here. Is there any other questions coming through?
It says you guys have answered.
Oh, apparently we've answered all your questions. That's fantastic.
The world's shortest product launch live stream ever.
Yep.
Cool. See you guys know. We'll wait a bit and see if there's any questions.
Absolutely. So I think actually one of the things which is really handy, especially for a camera that's going to be moved around and quite portable, is that we have the filtering on the front, but also it comes with the lens cap as well. So it is designed to move, and it's designed to be tough as well.
Yeah.
Very good. So I've got a question here about NDI5 integration, and the answer is yes, soon. So NDI5 has been announced, and we're really excited. We had a few products that we announced that came out of the innovations that have come from NDI5, but as part of that announcement, we've also confirmed that all of our products will be getting an NDI5 upgrade, and that's absolutely true for the PF120. Now, obviously, we're shipping this today. NDI5 isn't available just yet, so as soon as that's available, it will be absolutely part of that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, yeah, so here's a question here, two questions I think we can probably answer in one, which is the connector, which is the RJ45, which is our NDI connection, and the HDMI. So firstly, we can output both of them at the same time, and that's a really great thing depending on whether you want to have a camera so people can see whether they're in shot, if you have a screen to see whether people are in shot. But also, they are really quite close together. It is quite a compact camera, but absolutely you can run them with both the Ethernet and the HDMI running at the same time. So there's plenty of room to plug them in, and that was one of the questions.
Yeah.
Will this work with a PTZ controller, PTZ controller? Yes, absolutely. So the camera has a number of different control protocols. So we work with NDI, so any of your studio monitors or any application that runs with NDI, you can use the zoom functionality within that. You can also save presets, and that can be zoom presets, but also color presets as well, and you can recall those. It also works with VSCA over IP, so if you have any application that works with the regular Sony VSCA protocol, it'll work with that. And then we also have our serial control port here, which we kind of glossed over, I think, which
Yeah, I
is
don't
a
think we mentioned it
RS232.
Yeah.
So that'll work with basically any kind of Visca or Pelco control. So essentially you can plug that in via serial control and use any kind of controller you like.
Yeah.
So you've got a choice between NDI, Visca over IP, or Visca for control, and you can control both the zoom, all of your shutter speeds, ISOs, all that kind of stuff, and then you can also do the recalling of color presets as well.
Yeah, someone asked about the sensor size. So it's got the same sensor as our current P100, but it's got a 20x zoom on the front. So off the top of my head, I don't actually remember what that is.
1 over 2.5.
1 over 2.5,
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. Yeah, so, and that's actually a really good point, which we've made a couple of times, but the sensor that we use in here, the image block, the image processing, is all done in the same way as a P100, so it cuts in really nicely. That's, I think, one of the great features of the P100 is the image quality, and certainly for the price and the category that camera fits in. And so now having a 20 times zoom on the front in the box camera, it means you can have some really flexible productions, but you're getting exceptional image quality out of it.
Yeah, this really does produce very nice pictures for the price. So, and yeah, with the cam control, you can load up a a P200, a P100, and a PF120 all in the same window, and color match them in the cam control. So, yeah.
Another question actually came up around doing remote workflows. We actually announced as part of NDI5 our Cloud Connect platform. So being NDI, we can work with the PF120 and Cloud Connect as well. So we have our Cloud Connect server that can run locally, and then you can send that across to anywhere in the world with as little as 2 frames latency. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll have some videos coming up on that too.
Yeah, 2 frames is very, very fast.
Another question here about NDI versus NDI HX. So Bird Dog products, we really have done a lot of work in our silicon as far as the way we process these images to make sure they happen as fast as possible with the highest quality, and that's using the high bandwidth NDI. NDI HX is another format that is available, really designed for lower bandwidth or networks with constraints around bandwidth. Now that works well with Wi-Fi, for example. This camera here doesn't have Wi-Fi on it. It's designed as a wired camera, so having that high quality, full bandwidth NDI really does lend itself really nicely to make sure those pictures are as high quality as possible.
Yeah, we still have to power the camera anyway, so you've got to run a cable, so you may as well just run one PoE cable and do the full high bandwidth NDI. It's only 100 to 120 megabits over the network anyway, so yeah.
Very good. And one actually little technical tidbit for people that are used to Bird Dog products, there's actually a new feature with this architecture which allows us to output on the HDMI port a whole bunch of on-screen display information as the camera boots up. So that will give you things like the IP address of the camera, the name of the device and things, so it makes it really easy to find, especially if you are using this in various different locations, or if it's a rental camera, you can plug it in and you'll see exactly what the settings are straight away.
Yeah, beautiful.
Very good. I think we've burned through quite a lot of those questions.
Should we take the camera outside and live stream driving over one?
No, not now. Yep.
Fire.
It's fireproof. Yeah. So there we go. Thanks, Neil, the producer.
Yeah.
So you'll notice on that video, which we might cut to again at the end of this stream. Within the shots there, we've actually been shooting a lot of cooking, and we had one of the cameras mounted directly over the flames that were happening, and they actually got touched by the flames, and it was still working just fine. So there's some really cool shots that you can get out of that. The one question here is about, which is actually related to NDI HX, is does it do HEVC or H.264 or H.265? They're very related. So NDI in its high bandwidth format is a customized codec designed for that high bandwidth or high quality, low latency, where NDI HX is HEVC or H.264. So these cameras are the high bandwidth NDI. So I've got some questions that are quite technical, which we'll put on the website. Things like, what's the 20 times equal on a 35mm lens? We actually do have a calculator that will work out how the field of view and things that happen. So that's available in our knowledge base. So I think that's probably best to look there. Yeah,
there was a bit of a question about who would the camera be for at only $200 less than the P100. Well, there's a couple of things. One is it does have a 20x optical zoom, and it's smaller, so it can be mounted in different compact areas. And at Bird Dog, just as a general philosophy, we always want to keep our prices as low as possible. If we could have driven the price down more, we would have, but because we use the highest quality sensors and chips inside, that was about as low as we could get it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so as far as the places where you'd put it, essentially in the same places you might put a PTZ, but where you have a locked off shot. So if you have a stage or if you have some area where it's always pointing in the same spot, you could equally put a PTZ there, but then you'd have to potentially reframe it, where if you have a locked off shot with a box camera, it makes it a whole lot easier. Yeah. But also that example of doing, for example, a cooking show where you have a nice compact camera where you can mount it in places on booms or on areas where it might be difficult to do otherwise.
Yeah, I could see applications for like sporting applications, finishing lines, you know, maybe a basketball, you know, pointed down at the rim, something like that. Yep. So all kinds of things really.
Concerts.
Yeah,
many different places, yeah. Low light performance, that's actually one of the great points of all of the bird dog cameras, is how great they perform in low light without having to really crank up the gain. So it is very similar to the P100, which is really great as far as a camera in this price range, and really just a camera in general in that in the compact category.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What else we got over there?
Can you talk directly via the browser to the camera's IP address? So within the all of our bird dog cameras, and the PF120 is no different, we have all of the control settings available within the web browser. So we can talk directly to it, just open up a browser on a Mac, on a PC, on a mobile device, and you can access all of the settings as long as you've got the password. And that allows you to do all of those color matrix controls, allows you to adjust the exposure, any of the color balances and things, recall presets, and that can all be done through the web interface. You don't have to run a thick application to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think we are done for most of the questions. There's an IP rating question. So this is not a waterproof camera, so please don't put it in water. It's a completely it's a unibody construction, so there isn't any seams or anything like that, so it's built for production use. If you happen to get a few little bits of water droplets on it, it will be fine, but if you immerse it in water, it will not be fine.
Yeah,
so
it's got ports in the back.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. So I think that's the end of the questions. There's one last one. This is the one last question, which doesn't have a built-in microphone, and the answer is no. But it's got those microphone connectors on the back, so you can plug in any sorts of external microphones. Probably one thing worth noting is the camera is available now with all of the features we've spoken about. The one thing it doesn't have, which is coming really shortly, is the upgradability to work with Dante audio as well. So if you have an external microphone or a Dante-based audio source with an update that you can buy a license for, it will enable the Dante support as well.
Yeah, and that's coming soon, so that's not far away.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I think that probably does it. We can sort of wrap it up. I'll personally, when I get home, I'll stay on Facebook for a little while, so if you've got any more questions, just pop them over on Facebook, and I'll jump on there and answer them. I'll be home in probably about half an hour or 45 minutes or something, so yeah, I can answer a few more then. Yeah.
Thanks, Eamon.
No worries.
And thanks for watching.
G'day. My name's Eamon, and today we're really excited to announce our PF120 high bandwidth NDI box camera. Here it is. Here at Bird Dog, we've already delivered to the world the most complete range of high bandwidth NDI PTZ cameras, and today we're really proud to expand that lineup into the box camera category with our PF120. Shipping now, the PF120 delivers resolutions up to 1080p 60 and is perfect for live streaming, educational facilities, medical applications, boardrooms, live sports productions, live events, and just so much more. At the heart of the PF120 is a Sony Exmor R sensor, which is teamed up with Bird Dog's custom NDI silicon implementation, which gives unmatched picture quality. There is a full color matrix available with an incredible 64 positions of red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow for both hue and saturation controls. And yes, Toby, there's also Kelvin control in there too. All of these amazing color tools found in the PF120 can be controlled by our free cam control software. This is a software that enables you to access all of the features of the camera remotely, and you can control all of the color tools and color match cameras literally in seconds. Okay, so now let's take a look at the hardware. In the PF120 we have a super high quality 20x zoom lens. We've incorporated a 49mm thread on the front, so you can use your favourite filters including UVs, polarizers, NDs, and much more. There is also a large tally light on the front that just works when connected to any NDI production system. Moving around to the back of the PF120, we have a high bandwidth NDI connection which is delivered over an RJ45. This can also be used for powering the camera via PoE+. There is a HDMI which works at the same time as high bandwidth NDI, and there's also a USB UVC connector, so you can use the PF120 with your favourite video conferencing application. We also have a secondary connector over RJ45 for RS232 control. We have 3.5mm audio inputs and outputs, and a locking power supply connector. The PF120 ships with a global power supply. On the bottom of the PF120 are standard tripod mounts including a 1/4 inch 20 and a 3/8 inch thread for maximum mounting flexibility. There's also an anti-rotation pinhole as well. PF120 is shipping globally through our network of resellers, and for more information on this amazing little camera, just head on over to Bird Dog's website.